Bonjour friends, welcome to our channel Apprenons le français. I hope you are doing good and practicing your language. Today's lesson is about the interrogation. The interrogation in French is l'interrogation. L'interrogation means the interrogation. Now what is interrogation? Interrogation, here we have to learn the sentences in the question form, how we make a sentence in question form. So interrogation basically is the questioning. Okay, so we have to learn how do we make questions out of the sentences. So there are three ways of making a sentence into a question form, and the first way is intonation. The second is que. You have to add que or que apostrophe if the following word starts with a vowel. I'll explain you more here. Okay, and the third way is making it an inversion form. So what is inversion form? What do we need to invert? Invert means, you have to change, you have to exchange the places. So what has to be inverted? Here the subject and the verb has to be inverted. Okay, the subject will go to the verb's place and the verb will go to subject place, and this way we will make the interrogation form. This way we will make a sentence into a question form. I'll explain you here. I have taken one sentence here, which is vous parlez français. That means you speak French. Vous parlez français. Now the first is intonation. Okay, the first form is intonation. Intonation means you just need to change the tone of your voice and make it present as if it is a question. So you say vous parlez français. That's a question. So I just changed the tone of my voice. So this is the intonation form. The first form is intonation. Vous parlez français. Okay, and the second form here we have to add que before the sentence, and then that makes it a question. So in front of vous, if you add this que, so it becomes est-ce que vous parlez français? Est-ce que vous parlez français? Then it becomes a question. Now third part is a little tricky, not that tricky, but the inversion. Here you see the subject is vous. The subject is vous and the verb is parler. So here we invert this vous and parler. So this becomes parlez-vous, and here we add this hyphen here. We add a hyphen here. So this becomes parlez-vous français. So this makes it a question. So our first form is intonation, that is vous parlez français, and second is est-ce que vous parlez français, and then third inversion part is parlez-vous français, and then a question mark obviously in all of these sentences because these are interrogative sentences. Now I'm taking one negative sentence. I have made negative of this, and this becomes vous ne parlez pas français. Okay, so here you also learn how we make negative of sentences. We just add a ne and pas after and before the verb. Okay, so it's vous ne parlez pas français. Okay, so first intonation is very easy. In place of in place of this point, you will just put an exclamation mark, put a question mark here, and this will become a question. So first form I have not written it here. It is vous ne parlez pas français, and that's a question. Now the second form, that is que form, again is est-ce que vous ne parlez pas français. This is also easy, not that tough. Now in negative sentences you have to mind here that when the verb and subject, they are inverted as it was here in this sentence, parlez-vous, ne and pas, this becomes a set now. Okay, so ne and pas will come after and before this set. Okay, so it becomes ne parlez-vous pas français. Okay, and it should not be ne parlez pas vous français. It will be ne parlez-vous pas français. So this has to be a bit clear here. Okay, we'll practice it with more sentences. Okay, so we are continuing the topic, and learning a bit more about interrogation. Okay, here I have taken few more sentences. The first sentence on this board is Il vient de France. That means he comes from France. Okay, now why I have used the here for this, you can follow my lesson on the preposition before places. Okay, so this is he comes from France. Now how do we make interrogative sentences from this sentence, from this declarative sentence? Okay, the first form is intonation, as I told you, and there you need not do anything, just put a question mark and change your intonation. So this becomes Il vient de France. Okay. And then the second form, esque form, here you need to mind that this will come QU apostrophe, because if we put QUE here, the following word is starting with a vowel. So we don't want a vowel clash here. So this becomes Est qu'il vient de France. Basically in English, if you translate this, this becomes does or do. So does he come from France? And then the inversion part. In inversion, you have to invert the subject and the verb. Okay, so you invert vient and il. So this becomes vient-il. There is a liaison here. So vient-il de France? Okay, I have taken one more similar sentence here just to tell you one tricky thing here. And this is the second sentence here on the board is Elle va en France. Again, why I have used en, you can refer to the lesson related to the preposition of places. Here this means she goes to France. Okay, elle va en France. Now the intonation part, nothing has to be done, you just put a question mark and change your tone. So this becomes elle va en France. Okay, and in the second one, you have to add esque, and again this is starting with a vowel, so we add QU apostrophe. Okay, this E is removed and this apostrophe is added here. So this becomes Est qu'elle va en France? Now the inversion part. Inversion part here should be va-elle en France? Okay, elle va, and if we invert this, this should become va-elle en France. But because this A and this E, here again it becomes a vowel clash. So French people, what they do is they add a T if the verb here is not ending in T or D. Okay, you have to mind this. If the verb ending here is not ending in T or D, okay, then we have to add this extra T here. So this becomes va-t-elle en France? Here if it was ending in T, it already had a liaison. Okay, so it became vient-il. Or if the verb is prend, let's for that sake we say prend. Okay, so then also it becomes prend-il. So here it is ending in a consonant, so there is no vowel clash here. But here there was a vowel clash, so whenever with this third person, it would generally help be there with the third person, il or elle. Okay, it would generally be there with the third person singular only. Okay, so here to remove this vowel clash, if the verb is not ending in T or D, you will add this extra T. Okay, you will add these hyphens and add an extra T. So this becomes va-t-elle en France? So that is why I always in my lessons, remind you of practicing, because, when you practice, these things, come very easy and handy. Okay, I'm explaining here two more sentences to explain to you one more tricky thing here about the interrogation. Sometimes I wonder the people, sometimes people say, learn French in 5 days or 2 months. I don't understand how is it possible to learn for that sake any language, in such a quick time, because, there are many nuances in the language. Okay, coming back to the topic. Here, our first sentence on this board now is Véronique prend du thé. Véronique takes some tea. Now, why this is du? Okay, this is an article partitive here. And for this, you can follow the lesson on the channel about partitive articles in French. Véronique takes some tea. Okay, now if we have to make this into interrogation, now if you see here, the subject here is a proper noun. Okay, we have not used je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il, elle in plural as we were doing in the previous sections. Okay, so now here the subject is a proper noun. Okay, now in the case of proper nouns, how do we change them into interrogation? Okay, the first interrogation form is no doubt very easy. So it becomes just, you need to change the intonation as we did before. So it becomes Véronique prend du thé. Okay, and then second form is also again very easy. We just need to add an est que before the sentence. So it becomes est que Véronique prend du thé. Okay, now we come to the third part, third way, third form of making interrogation. Here, if this is a proper noun, if your subject is a proper noun, how do you make interrogation? You have to, segregate, separate this proper noun and see what pronoun this can be replaced with. This Véronique, let's say this is a female, so we can replace it with elle. Okay, so the inversion what we need to do will be between this pronoun and the verb. Okay, not with the proper noun. So with proper noun we don't do the inversion. Okay, we do the inversion with the pronoun only. So what we do is we write Véronique and we put a virgule, a comma here, okay, and separate this, and then we do the inversion between prend then elle. Okay, so it becomes prend-elle du thé, Véronique prend-elle du thé. Okay, and then we come to the next sentence. The next sentence is Véronique et Patrick vont en France. Véronique and Patrick. So this is again the conjugation of verb aller. You can see the conjugation of verb, the video on the conjugation of verb aller also. Okay, so Véronique et Patrick vont en France. Véronique and Patrick, they go to France. Okay, so now here we have the proper nouns and we have two people here. Okay, so what this Véronique and Patrick we can replace with? This may be a female and this is a male maybe. So then we replace it with il, and if with both are females, then we will replace it with else. But here I'm telling you, this is one is female and one is male. So if there is one is male and one is female, we will have il as a plural. Okay, so plural pronoun here for Véronique and Patrick. So the inversion will happen between this il and vont. So what we do is, okay, I forgot to tell you the first and the second one. In the first intonation, it is just the intonation, and we will just say Véronique and Patrick vont en France. And then est que is again very easy. Est que Véronique and Patrick vont en France. Then we come to this tricky one. Okay, so what we do is we write Véronique et Patrick and segregate it, separate it with a comma. Véronique and Patrick vont-ils en France? Okay, and the inversion comes here. Vont-ils en France? Okay, I hope I make this clear. Okay, so this is it for our lesson today, and I will give you few sentences to practice. I hope you keep practicing.